everyone, it's Melanie Benson-Strick here, host of New Era Success TV, and I have here with me today my wonderful friend Carol Allen. Say hi. Hi! We are going to celebrate Valentine's Day with you. It's February 14th, 2012, with a really special edition because we are going to talk about love and the 5 keys to creating, and can we even say like an epic love?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
A karmic love, a celestial love, a soulmate love, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, all of those.
Nice. Yeah.
Love. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have Carol come in today is because in a lot of ways, Carol had a huge hand in me marrying my beloved Michael last year. And so quick story on that. Carol, I had been hearing about Carol for years and years and years. We had known each other through this networking group a million years ago.
Yeah.
And neither of us had ever stuck with the group, but somehow our paths crossed there. And we ran into each other through a mutual friend last year, or year before. Mm-hmm. And I kept hearing about her charts that she did on manifesting love and really learning about love and finding your compatibility. And so I thought, okay, I've got to check this out. Because at the time, I was still very heartbroken about somebody that I had met and we were no longer together and I was dating and I couldn't figure it out. So I had her run my chart. And she says to me, first of all, she says, the person you're dating now is a train wreck. Get out.
I think that was maybe a little
more delicate.
A little more subtle.
Yeah, a little more subtle maybe.
But just a little.
Yeah. She's like, no. But more importantly, I said, I'm still really stuck on this guy and I can't figure out why. And so when she ran our charts, I understood why. And we'll tell you why in a little bit. But first, I want to know more about these 5 keys to having an epic love.
Well, so I am an astrologer, and I do Vedic astrology, yes, from India, which is the system of ancient India, and it's been used for centuries, maybe even millennia, to arrange marriages, and they have this unbelievable technique that they use for relationships that goes way beyond the normal, like, hey, Aquarius, you can be with Libra, Aries, Scorpio. Way, way, way more complicated than that. And it compares 2 people's charts in 15 really important key ways. And 5 of the ways are the most important. And this technique works again and again and again. And it helps to explain why we can love someone who is maybe not right for us or can't meet our needs, or why we can have chemistry with someone that we don't love, or why we can laugh all day long and have total agreement intellectually with someone we have no chemistry with. So all these things are separate issues between 2 people and really like separate energies between 2 people that really have to work. And so I've learned so much about relationships from this technique and from being an astrologer. And so 5 of the steps in the technique are the most critical and the most really informative about relationships.
And these are the ones I think you were really pointing out when I said, why am I still hooked on this guy and I can't get over it?
Well, and this guy, can we tell them who the guy is?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you had me look at your now husband's chart with you, I remember I looked and it was so beautiful and I said, why are you not together? Like, what the hell happened? Like, this is a needle in a haystack relationship.
Right.
Because yes, you had all 5 of these critical key things in this technique working for you. So here's what they are. I like to say, a relationship is both people, but then it's a system created between both people. It's almost like you both climb into a vehicle that you then drive down the road. And is it a Mercedes with bun warmers and a 5 CD changer?
And a sunroof.
And a sunroof, and exactly, full service, and is it detailed once a week, and is it great, or is it, a Pinto with no fuel injection system that's constantly getting flat tires?
Breaking down on the highway.
Yeah, and so, again, I've learned so much about relationships. You might be great, they might be great, but maybe you're climbing into a Pinto together. So here are the 5 things, and these are way beyond just do you like each other, will you be able to get along. The first, and really one of the most important things of the 5, is does your circumstances support you being together? Couples that have this step off in the technique will have friends that are in the way, constant outside interference from family, from jobs, geographic problems, relationships with other people, health challenges, financial problems. And just as they put out one fire, there's another fire. And so it's way above and beyond the usual, stuff that couples all have to deal with, like living near each other and having compatible careers and friends that like each other and all that. Is way beyond that. So that one is really important, because if that one's not working for you, there's always going to be things that drain the relationship and that take away from the happiness of the relationship. The second of the 5 has to do with, essentially, again, can that car drive down the road? It's called misfortune, and it's a terrible name, but it essentially means, just as you start to relax and think, oh, we're so connected, oh, this relationship's so positive, oh, we're getting along so well, it's like you'll hit a nail and you'll get a flat tire and you'll go running off the road. So couples with this one as a problem can't seem to ever execute plans together. They can't have shared goals. They can't have, they can't relax and just easily move forward together. And so they're constantly getting derailed. And it's funny, I've had clients where they'll tell me they're so in love and they're so happy with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, but they're constantly breaking up and they're constantly having these huge dramas. And instead of being able to just take care of or deal with the issue at hand, it calls the whole relationship into question. So
I think I've had a couple of those.
That one is really tough, and that one you can't think your way out of or communicate your way out of. It's just always going to be like the relationship misfires or the relationship short circuits.
So it's almost like there's no amount of love that's going to allow you to surpass that energetic factoring into the relationship.
Right. What can help is knowing about it can help you to take it less personally, because so often when we feel disconnected in a relationship, we'll think, if he only loved me or if she only loved me, then it would be fine. And so we can make these things so personal when they're really just about how the energy between you unfolds and expresses itself. And it's not really about love.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
So that can help when couples get this, because none of these are deal breakers by themselves, but you do get sort of an aggregate results. And if you have like 3 of these working against you, 5 of these working against you, you're going to be working way too hard. So the third has to do with respect, and it has to do with who's the leader in the relationship, who's the one making the plans, making, the phone calls, initiating or proposing whatever's next for the relationship. And traditionally, this is supposed to be the man. And when it isn't the man, even though, women are so modern and have so much independence and freedom and success these days, we still want the guy to make the plans and to be the one kind of 10 steps ahead of us going, I want to marry you, I want to, go steady, I want you to meet my family, I want us to, move forward. When it's the woman kind of chasing the guy, we hate it, right? We hate that. Any men out there? We hate that, okay? Right. So, and so this makes women feel really unloved, but the flip side is this can make men feel really pressured. And when this is reversed in a relationship, again, this is no one's fault, this is just what's so, the woman usually is feeling unloved. She's usually feeling like, well, if I'm always initiating, if I'm always picking up the phone, if I'm always making the plan, that must mean I care more. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It's just how the relationship expresses itself. So again, with knowledge, the pain of it can be less. And what I say to women is try to bite your tongue and sit on your hands and quit leading. Try to give him time, because really what it means is the woman has the faster process. And the man just needs more time. And he may very well come around to wanting the same things that she wants. She's just always going to be ready first. So that one is tricky.
Especially if they have a Jupiter influence, right?
Well,
wait, I'm getting ahead of the game.
Conversation, right.
We'll have to do a part 2 then and do that. Okay.
Telling all my secrets. Okay. So the next one has to do with, can the couple have concrete goals together as a couple, and can they be grounded together? And this one has to do with both people's temperaments. Now, in Vedic astrology, it's connected very much to Ayurvedic medicine. So I don't know if you know anything about body typing and the different body systems in Ayurvedic medicine. But in Ayurvedic medicine, we're all either windy, watery, or fiery. It's called Kapha, Vata, or Pitta. And you want to be different than your partner. It's strange because we all hear like, oh, the more alike you are, the more connection you'll feel and the easier the relationship will be. But in this case, it's not actually good to be the same. If you're both emotionally fiery, you're going to have a really hard time keeping the peace. You're going to have a lot of like bickering, arguing. I'll say to couples when I see this, do you fight like you've never fought with anyone before? And they always say yes. And they're so surprised at themselves, like how angry they get, how impatient they become. Couples that are both watery, the water element is emotion and sensitivity. So couples that are both watery, it's like they amplify each other's emotions together and they get really dramatic and everything becomes a big deal. And everything, becomes more of an issue than it needs to. But they can't help it. It's like they get sucked into a whirlpool of emotion. And so it's really, really difficult. And then two windy people together, the windy element is analytical. They'll talk everything to death and they'll overanalyze everything to death, and they can't.
I've never done that.
They can't make a decision, and they can't pull the trigger. And I'll say to them, "Okay, have you been talking forever about should you get married, and if you did, where would it be, and where what would it cost?" And like they get so into the minutia of things that they have a hard time again just making plans, having shared goals, moving forward. So they tend to get very insecure with each other. So that one's really tough. And then the last one is a little more complicated and hard to explain, but it basically shows, can the couple have prosperity? Can they have abundance? Can they have children or not? And so these are big issues that, again, don't necessarily have anything to do with love. You might love someone and be missing all of those. So your circumstances won't support your relationship. The woman will be ready first. Every time they start to move forward, it's like they get a flat tire. They can't have shared concrete goals. They either become too emotional, too angry, or too analytical together, and everybody thinks they're crazy. So,
all right. So let's say we find that there's a real deep feeling. We have someone a lot of love, and one of those areas or multiple, let's say one area is off.
Okay.
Is that something that someone could work through? If they have one, maybe two areas off.
Yes. So again, the most important thing is awareness. And with awareness, it might not bother you so much.
Or maybe you have more compassion for what's happening. And
right. Or when you see it happening, like when you see yourself getting really emotional or really angry or feeling really disconnected, there's all sorts of ways to work with it. And so the hope is that you can have the maturity and the awareness to sort of manage yourself and then adjust your expectations of the other person and of the relationship. Now, it's hard. And I will tell you, my traditional Vedic astrology training is that you're not supposed to be missing any of the five. And if you're missing any of the five, you're not supposed to marry. And in India, for thousands of years, they've been arranging marriages, and they've been doing it with this technique. And that's one of the things they would look for, do they have any of these five things off? And if so, they would say, no, don't marry. But I've talked to too many couples over the years that are missing one or two, and they know they are. When I explain to them the dynamic that they'll feel, they always go, "Oh my God, that's so us," But sometimes they laugh,
right? And
sometimes they say, "That's so us," and it doesn't bother me like it used to, or we talk it through, or we work it through. So, never use something like astrology or psychics or tarot cards or any of this stuff to make your decisions for you.
Right.
It's always my fear that people will come to me or they'll order my reports and then they'll break up with somebody when maybe there's still something they're supposed to learn, or maybe the good outweighs the bad. So I was really trained. It's like a relationship always has a price, and then it always has a dividend or, a gift it's going to bring you. So it's completely only your business if it's costing you too much, or if what it's giving you is enough. No one can tell you it's costing you too much, and no one can tell you what it's giving you is or isn't enough.
Right.
Only you can decide that.
And like you said, every relationship is going to have both.
Right.
And it's about knowing what you're getting into. So one of the things that was so amazing for me in clarity, going through what you call the right man report, and it could be a right man or a right woman.
Right, and it's a report that uses this technique.
Right.
Right.
So going through that process with you, one of the things that I learned was why I had this deep feeling of like this person was perfect for me, even though there were some obstacles in the way at the time. You explained what those were, and when that obstacle got dealt with or moved along a little bit further, it opened the door for those other things to be able to work out.
Well, the 5 things show can the relationship work and can both people get their needs met. But then there's 3 steps out of the 15 that are like the soulmate connections, that are like the kind of, feelings that indicate the feelings that we all want to have, the magic. And the thing that what I was so excited about with you and your husband is you have all 5 of the critical things going for you. And then you add more than one of the soulmate things. Oh. And that's really like a needle in a haystack relationship when it shows you're on the same wavelength, you can communicate, your circumstances support you being together, but then there's all this meaning and attraction and love too. That's hard to find, and it's rare and special. And so when you have that, that's
Miriam, in Fiji, on a beach. No, just say yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's really the goal, is to have all the 5 good things, all the 5 critical things, and then at least one of the 3 really special things. And those are the relationships that can most easily go the distance. Those are the relationships that cost the least and yield the most.
Yeah.
So
it's special, and I loved knowing this, and it was almost like it gave me peace of mind to know it. And if this is inspiring to you, or you think maybe you're in a questionable relationship, or maybe there's been stuff that's coming up in your relationship, or you're exploring a relationship and you're not sure if it's the one, this is such a great tool to help in that exploration, and as you said, to bring some clarity and some awareness, so that you know what tools you're going to need to navigate through if you are going to be in this relationship. And here's how you can get a copy of Carol's Right Man Report, is if you go to the URL at the bottom of the screen here, or you go to melanierecommends.com/rightman. You can get a copy of this report for yourself. And, is there anything else you want to say about the Right Man Report and what this is going to help people do as we're celebrating our Love Day today?
Well, first of all, it's gender neutral, so men can order it too. So, you can be a man ordering it about a woman.
Right man or right woman.
A man, exactly. But it is from ancient India, so they don't have man-man couplings or woman-woman. Okay. And so if you want to do that, you have to kind of decide who's more the male partner and who's more the feminine, because it's going to ask who's the boy and who's the girl. So you're going to have to figure that out.
Make an executive decision.
Right. But, this is just one tool to bring awareness, but it really does help answer, why were you so hung up on that guy? You're not crazy and you weren't delusional. There was really something special there, and you knew it on a very profound and deep level. And I never tell people what they don't already know. I always just affirm for people what they already know and help them trust themselves and trust what they feel. And so what I love about this technique is I love being able to say to somebody, look, this isn't your fault. If you feel like you're constantly struggling with being together, or constantly getting angry with each other, or constantly feeling torn apart, maybe it's not that you're failing, and maybe it's not that you're a bad partner, maybe it's not that they're a bad partner, maybe it's just there's a disconnect that's greater than you, and there's a destiny to your relationship that's greater than you. Maybe there's a way of working with that, or maybe you need to move on and love another day. But that's up to them.
And this can help provide clarity. And sometimes we need a little bit more than intuition to kick us over the edge. So thank you so much for coming today and sharing this brilliant insight. And I'm speaking for myself and for Carol here, that we want you to experience this epic celestial
soulmate love.
Yes.
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 And happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
So I'm Melanie Benson Strick, host of the New Era Success TV show. We'll see you soon.